The beauty here is now we have this pool. It's the training ground. So like to apply to Clipped, dude, I'm fucking toasted.
You gotta watch this on YouTube.
He's getting smashed, dude.
I've never seen so much. Welcome back to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about self-development, we challenge norms sometimes, Pop.
Hey,
I think we could challenge them more.
Right before we came on air, I got the intro. I expected tea. There was no tea.
Oh, Pop, there was no tea? I was feeling like it started to sound the same every time we did it. So I went for the like. I put a little breath in between each topic. Entrepreneur.
Not the time for innovation.
Not.
You're
the
telling me
time
right now. You're gonna send that little DM, fuck up my whole scroll, and then come in with that sort of tea.
Here's why we're here, okay? And here's the problem: when you've got a co-founder that texts 1,000 messages in an evening, and you're trying to read them. But he's still
in an
texting
evening
while you're trying to read them. In
evening Philippines time.
Dawn. It just keeps pulling you down to the bottom. So annoying. So I haven't really read anything.
Nice, dude. That's what I was hoping here. Because you're putting me on the Parkinson's. You're like, Dylan, I have 45 minutes. That was 15 minutes ago. By the time we actually get on, because I had to do some prep and you kept scrolling me down, we have 30 minutes. We got to figure this out. I got a lot of tea. I have an agenda. And you cannot derail me, because this is my moment. But really quick, just because this is going to be a nice pod. I like it. I think I learned a lot of shit last night at like 3 a.m. And Belky wasn't there for half of it. He was there for the other half, and he apparently didn't read some of it. So, could be news to everybody. But this Lieberman thing, one that's fucking funny when you're like, yo, should I blast off Lieberman? And you're like, where's the link? And I'm like, oh, here it is. I'm just editing it really quick. You're like, Pop.
Right, so the way Dylan and I message people often is like, we have a shared note and we review things together, and then one of us pushes it live or whatever. Dylan's like, yo, hit up Lieberman with this kind of battle plan like we talked about in last episode. Subscribe. How about that? And I'm like, okay, where is it? He's like, shared note. So I go there and I see Dylan making some changes, some word changes. I'm like, no, Pop. This needs to go out. It looks nice. I send the first message to Lieberman. It's 2 block messages. And then I see Dylan takes like the ending. He moves it to the top. He writes a new hook. He's changing grammar. I'm like, no.
Dude, I'm a writer now. I'm a writer.
I call you up. I say, Pop, but you better stop making edits. I already sent it. It's out. It's gone.
Dude, the thing, it's such an 80-20 of... Like, I even realized, I'm like, this isn't getting any better. What am I doing here? And then you send me that, and it's like, dude, just responded regardless. It's like, why are you trying to be perfectionist?
By the time you're done editing the note, he's already responded, interested, let's talk more and whatnot. It's like, he's either going to be interested or not, and like the marginal tweaks on your note is just get it the hell out.
I've just been taught so many times when you go and meet a girl for the first time and she doesn't know you, where if you fuck up the smallest bit of that text, she's gone forever. So I treat Lieberman as that. I'm like, oh, I don't want to lose him forever. But no, he just hit right back. So I'm
he's in.
I'm being silly.
He's hooked.
Hey, here's what we got. Because we are on the clock. I don't know really where they're... Oh, you're in the motel. That's why they're kicking you out of the motel.
Yeah, dude. Okay, here's the thing about living in a car. When that car breaks down, all hell breaks loose. So we're just driving last night. We know there's a problem, right? And I know I'm cutting into your 30 minutes here, but I'll go quick, Pop. Don't worry. And this glow plug.
Don't filibuster me right now.
It's like I'm filibustering.
Yeah.
It's like a spark plug. It sits right on the engine head.
It's not a spark plug. That's... Are you watching on
and
YouTube?
We're driving to our home, which is on the side of a cliff, and it goes... And then you just get... Pop, 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 and the engine's fucked. But turns out... So we got it towed last night for the second time in 2 weeks to our awesome mechanic that we talked about last episode. Subscribe, how about that? And yeah, it's fine. It was best case scenario. It blew out of the engine, so he could just put the new glow plug in, and we'll get it this afternoon. Okay, Pop, you're on the clock.
Yeah,
you have got
Baleen.
20.
Hey, Noah, I got good news for you, Belky. You're spending a lot of money. I got a way to make some. Here's what we got. All right, we're circling in. We're context guys. Let me give you some context. We have a lot of good things going for Clipped right now. We make a beautiful product. We have amazing editors, and people want them. Here are our problems. Number one, cash flow. This is
Before you talk about cash flow, Pop, can we just roll my picture?
God,
of Bill
you look
Murray here?
terrible without a hat on.
I just want to roll
Put
Bill
that-
Murray because I saw him yesterday, and then people can subscribe
Oh,
so they can go watch that on YouTube. That's good clickbait. And back to cash flow.
so who's the dude? Cat. What's the cat? The cat's either there or not, but we don't know. Sort of thing is dead or not.
Kawasaki.
No.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
No, dude.
Schrodinger, dude. Come
Science experiment. Schrodinger. Yeah, Schrodinger's
on.
cash flow.
Kawasaki's cat. Kawasaki's cat.
You can either be a rich dad or a friend. Okay. Point is, cash flow is so important. I don't think it was stressed enough in my business classes. It's like make or break everything because it's just runway. If you get a bunch of cash now, you can ride it out forever. That's what funded Silicon Valley. That's a problem because we want to grow, but to grow, you need cash. How do we get that cash if we're bootstrapping? It's a tricky problem. Problem number two, linked. Jesus Christ, my brain don't. There's like the T, and my brain's trying to catch up to the T. They're both coursing. We need like 100 editors for Ali Abdal. We're doing this partnership, and there's just crazy demand. Like there are 500 editors, and we're assuming there's going to be, say, 10%, 20% want what we're doing, especially with some of the crazy offers we're giving them, which hurt our margins and our cash flow. There's just going to be a boatload of them that want our stuff. So how do we get all those editors? Normally we pay like $1,000 referral bonus, which hurts cash flow if we're paying that before we work with anyone. And we're doing free trials. It's like a lot of shit that hurts cash flow. Another problem. I was thinking about this. I'm like, for cash flow, we have this juicy 3-month deal where you get effectively 30% off. But almost no one's doing it. Like I don't know many people that have bought it yet.
I could
I'm
tell
like,
you
everyone's
exactly
doing
how
it
many.
weekly. I bet you will.
Keep
ADHD.
talking.
So I thought it'd be so juicy, everyone would want it, but apparently that's not the case. And so we have this everyone on weekly, which is very profitable for us, but it's not good for cash flow and it's not good for predictability. That's a problem. I got a whole list of problems. We're going through them all. And how?
Wait, before you go
solve
through
it.
the rest of the problems, we have out of like 17 clients, 2 are on 3 months, and
That's
2
crazy
are
to
on
me.
6 months. So like 4 out of 20, whatever that is, a fifth, 20%.
20%?
80-20,
Yeah, I
Bob.
thought it was going to be at least like 50% because, it goes from $1,000 to $700 and it's not that much of a commitment. But point being, weekly kind of sucks for cash flow especially. Then we have this problem of editor and super editor. We're basically hiring for 2 different roles, 2 different kind of levels. Like one specializes in fancy animations and motion graphics. The other also does it, but just not as much. They're more like storytelling. So hiring for 2 roles just doubles the difficulty of figuring out that supply and demand problem of like, oh, now we need to double the pool that we have, if that makes sense. Then this other problem, Clip certified. So our idea is we certify people, but we're not actually, wow, so bright, dude. We're not actually hiring them. I just got fucking pegged.
You just got so blown out.
Yeah, I know. Oh, okay, it's going
I'm
away.
I'm having a gym towel moment.
I bet you nervous. We got a lot of problems over here. You're getting nervous. Okay, so here's what happens. We have all these Clip certified people, but we don't want to actually hire them where they're like on payroll if we don't have a client for them. We more so want to say, hey, you're Clip certified. When we have a client, we'll start paying you. But if we're paying like, say we have to now have supply for 100 potential people in all these program that want us, could be 50, could be 200, who knows, could be 500. We can't be paying for everyone. So we're going to tell them, hey, you're not going to make money. We're just going to hit you up when someone's potentially certified. That's a problem because they're going to go hungry and they're probably going to have to find another full-time job. Then we have what happens with our OGs who signed up for the agency. And now they want to, now they have a client that quits, like say a Patrick scenario, where for some reason a client paused or something like that. And now it's like, oh, I worked for a month and now I'm not getting paid, and like now they might try and find another job. So just like all these, how do you keep people alive when they're not necessarily working with someone? And then lastly, this problem with All In that we have, where they drop an episode on a Friday, but our editors don't come on till effectively Monday. Like we wouldn't get anything till Monday for work. So we lose this critical gap when it's sort of a news up-to-date podcast. So fucked on a lot of fronts, okay? It's not really bad. It's just like a lot of problems, and the fun part is how do we solve them? Belky, I wish I could figure out a way for
How
you
do
to talk
you
here,
solve
but this
them?
is kind of just a...
No, Pop. I told you I'm gonna get squashed this podcast, and that's just the way it is.
That's just how she do. So I'm kicking around stuff, and I have all these problems. We have these problems in the back of our heads, and it just, when it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I'm just...
Yeah, what tips you off?
Issa goes to
What
bed at
is
like...
it? Do you read something? It's just you flip. So we were texting about Matty Hapoya, something about his edits, and then you just spiral out of control.
I know it is a
It's
spiral,
pretty amazing to see.
Yeah, live action, it's really frightening. But I don't know. Like Matty Hapoya, I'm like, dude, you need this. And I'm like, why isn't he doing this? What does he want? And so my first sort of idea out of the box, I'm like, okay, maybe he just wants on demand, or like maybe people in general, like this on demand thing that we keep talking about but we haven't done. Like, dude, what I loved about Rev, for example, which is what transcribes, say, a clip of ours. So I just pop it in, and literally within minutes, someone's already on it. Oh, you use this little toggle, huh?
Yeah, my house elf is like throwing bricks at the wall. Continue.
Okay, so I think we've been sleeping on this on demand because I love Rev. You just drop it in and they shoot it back within like an hour or two, and it's like amazing. Sometimes I've had it within like 5 minutes for like a 2-minute clip.
You know what it is, Pop? We've always known on demand is the way. That's the consumer way. That's our edge. It's speed, but it's been so hard, so complex. Now, as we're getting into this automation game, which we talked about last pod, subscribe, how about that? It's like Stripe is working and we get people in Slack, but that'll just be email now. It's like we actually have the tools for this to kind of run itself, which we've never had.
It's the duct tape. We're like slowly moving up from duct tape to something more robust. But point being, I loved that about Rev, and I'm like, we're not doing that. Granted, subscriptions are great because you can predict things, and I think every company should do subscriptions first before getting into some sort of on-demand thing, if that translates to other industries.
And one more thing on Maddie is, we delivered to him. We were doing that subtle squat. Listen to last episode.
Right.
How about
that was it.
And he doesn't know. So it's, first of all, it's an old clip. It's Maddie from like a year or two ago. It's a good clip, but he doesn't know how long that took. I just delivered it to him. It's like, did this take 5 days? Did this take a week? Was it 2 weeks since we last talked? He's not getting the magic that Lieberman got, where Lieberman inserted his footage into our pipeline at 8 p.m. and the next morning he's got an edit. That's what Maddie doesn't see.
We realized that, and I'm like, okay, he's not seeing this. So yeah, an amateur pro edit of ours, sure, anyone can do it, but our specialty is we've just systematized doing it, and we're gonna do it overnight. So you get it, you get that magic feeling in the morning of waking up to something incredible. That's what I wanted, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's on demand. Maybe he just needs on demand. It's like, yo, Maddie, your next video, just pop it in, just buy this little on demand clips, and you'll get it the next morning.
Right. What we should do is the next time he drops a video, hit him with 3 clips the next morning.
And that's where what we're going to talk about in a second, I think it solves it.
That's what I'm going to respond to him.
Basically, that's our biggest edge, I think, is that magic. And like waking up this morning with just a Smart Nonsense podcast out. Like, I love that shit. It's just fucking, you wake up and it's there. So that's our sort of minimum viable mind blown. It's like, just do 1-day edits, but that's also like maximum value at the same time. It's like, that's the most mind blowing we can be, is doing this in 1 day. So I'm like, if we're going to do on demand, which I think we should consider. Let's just do 1 day edits. It's got to be like an absolute grind for the editor, like more than a normal day. Like say a normal day is 8 hours. Like just do 12 hours of work to make sure it's a beautiful clip. And maybe we add like a revision or something. But it's just like you pay $4.95, which maybe it's expensive, maybe not. We were charging like double that for clips in the past, and that's for like a package of 10. So here it's $4.95, and you get it the next day. Have a revision, have whatever you want, but it's just fucking magic. It's just magic in a box, and that's what we're delivering. So that gets me excited. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you pull $4.95 out of your butt?
yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Well, no, here's how it worked actually. Well, how it worked originally, and we have the text. It's like, okay, right now, if we're paying an editor $500 a week, that's roughly $100 a day. Well, that is $100 a day. Then I'm like, okay, off of that cost basis, what could we charge for something like this? I'm like, okay, maybe $195. That'd like keep 50-50 margin. But then I'm like, why are we valuing cost? Like, that's not how you should value something. It is, what is the magic being delivered? What would I pay for that? So I'm like, oh, well, what would I pay for a Colin and Samir edit overnight, like within 12 hours? Oh, $500 easy, dude. If I could get Colin and Samir level magic and I just pop it in at the end of the day, like Lieberman did, like ask Lieberman, how much would you pay for this? That experience you had, easy $500. So I'm like, that feeling, if we can just specialize and hone that, like that was very early iterations of doing this 1 day turnaround with Amateur Pro. If we focus entirely on that, we can get even, who knows, 50% better. Now it's a no-brainer. Whenever you have a clip, you don't have to force them to shoot every week. It's just like, yo, it's here when you need it. Just buy it. And it's super simple. You just drop the link.
Okay.
That's it. We have one style, too. It's just this Colin and Samir look. So there's no, like, in that one-click mentality, it's just there. This is the look. We know it works. It performs on TikTok. It performs on every social media. You just do it.
I got a question, Pop. When we moved from Smart Nonsense Media, the agency, to Clipped, it was a way to diversify away from this fad, which was this one style of clip we were doing. Now it sounds like, maybe at least in the short run, we're going back to doing that one thing.
Here's what I'm realizing.
Is that the case?
No, we get the best of both worlds. One, because we have, in theory, the buy and the subscribe. So two options. It's like, do you want to buy one? If you want to just buy a one-off, this is what we do one-off. We're clipped. We just do a clip. But if you want something like, say, a dozen clips a month, it makes a lot more sense to subscribe. Or if you want to do a YouTube channel just with great editors, awesome. Just subscribe. So we still get that.
Okay.
But I'm realizing we have everyone coming in, and what do they ask for? They're always asking for clips. It was only these edge cases where you'd have a Dharmesh wanting to do YouTube or a Zach wanting to do long form who ends up reverting to clips because that performs better for growth. We know shorts grow. And we know what is the way you stand out with shorts is doing what we're doing with this Colin and Samir. So we just magic in a bottle Colin and Samir, and we know that works. Before we were doing way too much animation and it took a week for an edit. If we can do 1 day, that's what actually works now. Who knows? It might not work.
True. We're actually getting views.
Right, the shit is working. So that's my point.
Wait, but one more thing there, then, because our partnership with Part-Time YouTuber Academy was to get all these part-time YouTubers video editors, like mine, like Kevin. Is that not the case?
As in an editor and the super editor, like having that split?
Are you just gonna? Is the sell to them just like okay? So at some point in your rabbit hole, you said like we're just super editors. We're just motion graphics artists. We just do these short form clips. Like, what does that mean for the Part-Time YouTuber Academy YouTubers?
Well, here's the thing.
Editor?
We're still okay. So now we split from this like this is an editor, this is an animator now called a super editor. Now we're just like, if you can do an amateur pro clips,
okay,
that is the benchmark. I don't care what experience you have with After Effects or Premiere. If you can do a 12-hour clipped, you're in the company.
Okay, here, riddle me this then. we're gonna do this live. Let me send you. Watch what Ken did, and we'll roll it while you watch it. And you tell me, like, I'm gonna send it to you right now. You tell me, it's like, does this mean Ken, who's hired to us as a video editor? It doesn't have a ton of motion graphics, but go watch it.
You texted
in your
it?
text.
Share screen share. I'll screen share. How about that? Do you get audio? I don't know if you get audio.
Oh, and my headphones were moved. How about that?
I told you to turn off the
Hold
Bluetooth.
on. Oh my God, Pop! Before you watch, I gotta leave and come back.
Okay, I'm here.
Pop, can you hear me, Pop?
I hear you.
Okay, all right, I'm ready.
Hey, really quick, what just happened?
Shit switched to my iPhone.
Hey, you want to see? What did I text you? Bluetooth
Yep.
off.
No,
Phone.
here's what we're gonna do, Pop. Here's what we're gonna do. You and we're gonna sell this company someday. We're gonna go to Apple because we're technical, and we are going to fix this bug. Okay, now watch the clip.
I don't. All right, whatever.
This moving sea urchin is lunch. For $10, you can have these fine people crack open a fresh red sea urchin on the docks of Santa Barbara in California. And then the insides are revealed. A gooey, mustard-colored, brain-like substance is exposed. They use a pick to take out what I can only presume is inedible innards and poop. A little lemon, a little hot sauce, and mwah! Bon appetit!
Okay, it's like polenta, but what I imagine.
So,
okay,
brains would be like.
Brains?
Yeah.
there's no captioning, right? But that was done overnight. That was done in 2 hours. I uploaded footage. I uploaded a voiceover. Had no idea what was going to happen, and that's what comes back.
Right. So here's my approach to this. I think that's level 2. So level 1 is the Uber Black. Right now that doesn't hit the Uber Black threshold where it's like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before. Especially not in a day. But it hits the level 2, which I don't think we should focus on yet, where it's like, oh, can you just tell a good story and have like basic text and motion graphics on there? That's what I think we might be able to get to, and who knows, we figure out what it looks like at that point. But I think we just stick with our specialty because we want someone sees that. I would not personally be like, who made this? I need to hire them. And that's what we use for growth. Whereas some of, say, the all-in edits, literally on our TikTok, people are like, oh, we need to work together. This is amazing. That's what we're shooting
Okay,
for.
Pop, talk about the pool.
Great edit,
talk
though,
about the
story.
pool and how this solves just people sitting around
Okay.
in the company.
Well, here's what I realized. I'm like, say we charge $500 basically. Right now, an editor is a super editor is paid $100 a day. So, if we wanted to do this on demand, which is like 12 hours, say it's like 50% more than they normally work in a day, they should be paid $150 a day. Okay, we're on the same page with math. They should be paid $150 if we just did hourly. But granted, it's like overtime, so maybe we just round up to $200. We say, hey, $200, you get paid for this 12-hour clip, and it can be any day of the week, 24/7. It could be on the weekend. Like that solves our all-in problem. If we just drop this in, say, our pool of editors who are available for this, like, oh, whoever jumps on it first on a Saturday, just rip it. And they now have 12 hours to just do a banger. And now, instead of what we said with Kayet, for example, we're like, hey, Kayet, can you work Sunday through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? So 4 days, get 2 edits out. And then you just like, that's all you have to do for your job. Should get paid $500. Like, okay, with this system, which I think people would buy on, say it's $200 or $250 that we pay them per edit. She's coming out the same, but literally just working 2 hard days a week. It's like, oh my God, that's magic. Like right now, we're requiring everyone to do 3 of these a week. So if we paid them, say, $200 an edit, now they're making $600 instead of $500. So they're making more money doing this, and they have ultimate flexibility where it's just like, whenever, like you can do up to 3 a week, do them on any time, fucking Sunday, whatever day you have free. Just rip and edit, and we're gonna pay you $200 an edit. And now,
And wait,
thinking back
one
to
funny thing
our-
too. So the 12-hour thing is a problem, But we realized the other day, one of our editors, Renz, did a perfect, crazy Ali Abdaal, like, good clip story with a little bit of, oh my God, I can't talk. He did it in 4 hours. He made the clip in 4 hours. So we're like, what the fuck? It can be done.
Right.
Can you imagine?
And
he
now
works
it's just
8 hours
us.
a week and makes the same or 1.5 times what he's making. Working one day,
Right.
essentially.
And I did the math. I was like, dude, if you got really good at this, and say with customers, we'd probably pay them more. I think it's like internally, I ended up, it's like $200. And then if it's a customer, because it's like interfacing and stuff, it's $250. But like, say you worked, you're just like, yo, I'm going to grind. I'm going to do 5 of these a week, just long days, and then just rest hard on the weekend. Now you're making $250 times 5. That's $1,250 a week. It's like $1,250 a week. That is more. That's like
median
60 grand
US income.
That's above. I'm like, fuck, dude. If you just wanted to grind for a year, say you don't even grind. Say you work 4 days a week. 4 days a week is $1,000. That's 50 grand a year. I'm like, dude, this is the shit. So, point being, we have this big Ollie army that we talked about before. We also have All-In. So between
give me
them,
the next steps.
we want to do a shitload of clips, right? Right. So, dude, PTSD.
Oops, right?
Oops, dude. So we have like, I don't know, 30 to 40 clip. How many do we want to do a day?
30 a week.
I don't know. I
It's
forget
like
the math
4.
where it was. Say we want to do like 40 clips between Ollie and All-In a week. Right now, we're paying. Fuck all the math. Basically, the math checks out to where it is currently. But we can internally test, like scratch our own itch with this
Pop.
on-demand. I see your mouth open. I know you want it. We internally test it. We're like,
I want you to tell people how we roll this out today. This is a huge company pivot, but it's like, how do you duct tape this together today with who we have?
well, the duct tape is simple. We don't launch it live. We don't have to launch it live to anyone. We're just like, hey, everyone on the team, we're changing the model. You know how we said you have to do 3 clips a week? Well, now we're not going to require that. We're just going to pay you $200 a clip, and you can do up to 3, which is what we're requiring. Now you can just make more money. It's like, you want to do
Why
3
up
like
to
before, you
3?
want to do less. Here's why. Yeah, well, it's a fucking arbitrary number. The reason why is we have this pool, and the way I want to look at it is this buffer. So we use Ollie and All-In as like our training ground, and that's where like our clip certified, they can live on like a basic amount of money a month. So my idea with the old bloods, like they're used to being paid $2,000 a month or more. Jesus. So if we want to keep them roughly at that level, we'd have to have them do like 2 to 3 clips a week at that level. That's just to be like kind to them, like, hey, you're allowed to do more than the average person. But anyone new coming in clip certified, we want to give them like the minimum amount of money where they still stay with us, like involved and ready when a client comes to hop on it and hungry, but not more than that, because then we can't have as many certified people in the pool, if that makes sense. Do you get what I mean? Say we pay to every.
Yep.
We have finite money, so it's better to like limit it to 1 edit per week for a new clip certified person, and that'll give them like $800, maybe up to $1,000, and that's like what people requested in the first place when they applied, like a year ago to Smart Nonsense. So, the beauty here is now we have this pool. It's the training ground. So like to apply to Clipped, dude, I'm fucking toasted.
You gotta watch this on YouTube.
He's fucking smashed, dude.
I've never seen so.
I really just need to
It's like you're in a
put this
magnifying
down.
glass. A giant magnifying glass. Yeah.
Oh, that's all I had to do, huh?
Diffuse the light.
No. So we have this training
ground.
We're like trying to solve the issue of, okay, if we want to hire someone, we'd have this trial task normally, and we'd pay like a couple $100 for this trial task. Now let's change it to clip certified. You have to do one Ali Abdal edit. So one, it's like we're getting a bunch of Ali Abdal edits that we can put up on his channel. And two, we're like, hey, if we approve it, you are now in clip certified. If you're not paid for that, we'll take that $200 that we'd normally pay for that clip and give it to whoever referred you. So now they're getting this immediate payment, like, oh, I got $200. And the person that did it is like, oh, I got into clipped, so it's like worth it. I'm okay doing 12 hours to get into clipped. Now once they're in the pool, and you're allowed to do one clipped a week. And that's going to give you, say, $250 a week, which is enough to live off of. So now we're effectively having this pool of 30 people that can live off of this money. We're covering the Ali Abdal edits plus the all-in edits, because we're just like, yo, edit, boom, do one a week. Or like we drop an all-in that's just dropped, whoever wants to do all-in this week. Bam, they rip it. We're paying effectively the same that we're paying now, just with testing the clipped on demand internally before we even launch it to the world.
Really smart.
Okay.
And internally, right, you're keeping all the old people that like the agency model on their subscriptions and using this pool of new people that are just eager for a different model. Just using them to test the model we thought they would be editing under.
So basically this, whenever someone wants to hire someone, we just reach into the pool of 30 editors ready to go. And it's like, anyone that comes in, we know it's going to be one of those editors. We don't have that bifurcation between the super editor and the editor. It's just like everyone in the pool, whoever wants to work with this client, or if they saw a particular edit, now you get to work with them. Okay. I know we don't have much time, but I want to talk about pricing.
We got 2
really
min.
Quick. No, you don't, dude. You can
I do.
give them. I'll Venmo you $20 and give it to them and be like, hey, we need a couple more minutes on this fucking podcast. Okay, so $4.95. That's what we're doing for on demand. Now I circle back to like, okay, how do we simplify our offer for subscription? I'm like, well, if everyone's doing weekly, like no one's doing the 3-month, that's interesting because we thought they would. And it's really a cash flow problem. So what if we just simplified that whole shit? Like, hey, weekly is kind of weird because we're all like charging weekly. You get hit with a lot of things. It just seems more expensive. What if we just did monthly? Like, let's do monthly and just figure out the price that works for an editor. Like, now the super editor is just called an editor. It's like, okay, what's the price that makes sense? I'm like, well, we could do $4,995, so like $5,000, and you get an editor, and it's plus the like clipped coaching that we would do before, and then we make some profit, and then charge like $3,995 for just the editor. So most people like want to do the $5,000 thing because they get us. But I'm like, no, fuck it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to like do coaching and shit like that, especially with a lot of people. Let's get crazy, actually. Let's do $2,995, like under $3,000 for a super editor for a month. And what do we pay them? We pay them like a little over $2,000. So we're effectively making 30% margins. So like a grand every time someone comes in. And it's just super simple because it's monthly. We get the cash flow up front. So it solves our little cash flow problem of like weekly. It's just, it doesn't add up to much. And then monthly, like 3 month, just those were rare. So I'm like, oh, this is fucking sick. Now everyone that comes in, like with Ollie, they're going to be paying that month up front. So we get all the cash and we're paying our editors weekly. So we like have this little buffer space too. And then, yeah, I did like the percentages. It just, I'm like, let's simplify everything. You get to the website. What do you see? Buy or subscribe? Buy is this on-demand $4.95. Subscribe is this $2.95, and you can do a dozen clips, or you can do any other content you want. So you hit the whole spectrum, and you get the magic in the Rev model with the on-demand, or you just get an awesome editor forever. And we simplified pricing, we simplified cash flow, we simplified the editors internally, and we solved this little pool of buffer that we needed, plus the hiring problem.
The simplest thing there too is like, Our biggest problem is cash flow. You're like, okay, let's just stop charging weekly, charge monthly. We pay the team weekly. Therefore, cash flow as a problem has now been eliminated. It's like,
Right.
it's cool.
And there's no decision to be made. Like, I think a big part of business is limit the decisions, make everything caveman. So now it's like, do I want one edit or do I want a bunch of edits? If you want a bunch, subscribe. If you want one, buy. And it solved, I know you got to go, but it solved the Logan problem too, because he came in, he's like, we shoot on Friday. Can we get a clip? We want 2 clips the next day. The beauty is now, rather than say with All-In, if they shot on Friday, like Kaya would have to work the weekend, but we only get 1 edit, and we have to ask other people to work the weekend too. Now it's like you could dump in 4 clips at a time and just, I just dropped this Tim Ferriss episode. I want as many clips immediately. I just want to fucking tsunami wave social media. You can do that and have 4 editors simultaneously on it. It's beautiful there. And last thing.
So here's what it can be on the website, and then you say the last thing, right? It's just buy, subscribe.
Right.
2 options. 2
Super
cards.
simple. And you don't have to do this like editor, super editor. What's the difference? Which one do I want? No, it's just you get a dope editor. God, that's a sexy website. Here's the last thing that really in my econ classes, we never talked about this, but this is actually so fascinating. I realized this last night. One, the beauty of running your own business, because we're basically inventing business courses as we go, like squatter marketing and all this shit. But I realized the biggest fundamental theory, I don't know what to call it, from econ is supply and demand. Concept. Supply and demand, right? So our problem was it's hard for us to increase the supply of editors, or at least do it fast. And now if we have an influx of 500 potential editors, like demand for 500 potential editors, that's crazy demand. So what do they teach you in Econ 101? Like, well, if demand is higher than supply, it's a mismatch, and you got to raise prices to make the equilibrium. Like, when a lot of people want your shit, but it's just you, raise your price, and then fewer people can get it, and it's beautiful. But what they don't talk about is the other version. It's like, what if you kept prices the same, but you just charged up front? That way, we weed out a lot of the demand and like, I don't have $3,000 a month. I can't do this service. It's like, that's fine. We don't want to serve you. We want the people that have that.
Though. You can monkey around with incentives, right? Yeah, you do a lot of monkeying around with incentives, which can change your supply curve. It's like, okay, if we offer referrals, if they're this, then supply does this. And it's like, there's so much.
But this seems so fundamental. Is like, I think this is just the biggest problem in business school is cash flow isn't talked about. And so they're just like, prices is all that matters. No, price doesn't matter at all. It literally doesn't matter. I'm happy to lose money on every like unit right now if we got paid all up front. Like, we're effectively talking to Lieberman, and in my head, I'm like, let's just do at cost for a year as long as we get like all that money up front. I would be happy to do that at cost and make nothing or lose money. Like, Ollie, we're losing money. But that's fine because we get cash flow and we get exposure. So point being, supply and demand, you don't have to just adjust prices. You can adjust how the payment method is. That's the fucking beauty.
And
so
that's the difference between theory and application. Coming.
And practice.
Pop, they're knocking. I gotta go, Pop.
Okay.
Theory and practice.
All right.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for hanging in. Go to lose.